Hare ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর ধোয়ারা সাগর হে দাসে কারুণ করি বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর ধোয়ারা সাগর হে দাসে কারুণ করি দিয়া পদচয় সদা হে আমারে তোমারা চরণ ধরে তোমারা চরণ ধরে দিয়া পদচয় সদা হে আমারে তোমারা চরণ ধরে তোমারা চরণ ধরে জয় ভেগা তুমি জয় দোষ সধি জয় গুণ দেহ দাসে জয় ভেগা তুমি জয় দোষ সধি জয় গুণ দেহ জয় সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে জয় সঙ্গ জয় সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে জয় সঙ্গ বসেছি সঙ্গে রসে বসেছি সঙ্গে রসে একাকী আমার নাহি পায়ে বল হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে একাকী আমার একাকী আমার নাহি পায়ে বল হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে একাকী আমার নাহি পায়ে বল হরি নাম তুমি কৃপা করি রাধা বিন্দু হে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে তুমি কৃপা করি রাধা বিন্দু হে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার সম্পত্তি আছে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার সম্পত্তি কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার সম্পত্তি আছে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার আমি তো কঙ্গল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলে আমি তো কঙ্গল প্রভু হে আমি তো কঙ্গল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলে আমি তো কঙ্গল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলে তাই তব কাছে কাছে তাই তব কাছে কাছে তাই তব কাছে কাছে আমি তাই তব কৃষ্ণ ধানা পাবর সে তাই তব কাছে কাছে কৃষ্ণ ধানা পাবর সে তাই তব তুমি দিতে পারো তুমি দিতে তুমি দিতে পারো কৃষ্ণ তোমার ধরে তুমি দিতে পারো কৃষ্ণ তোমার তুমি দিতে কৃষ্ণ দেব
Yeah, I think that's like the one for the drum, maybe. Yeah, what page is Emana Dumati?
Oh, you just passed it. 162.
Oh. How you doing, Gary? You good, yeah?
Yeah.
162? I'm looking for Emana. No, it's not. It's not.
What are you looking for?
Emana Dumati? 164. Prabhu he mona dhurmati samsara bhitare udiyaya chinoyami he mona dhurmati samsara bhitare udiyaya he mona dhurmati samsara bhitare udiyaya chinoyami udiyaya chinoyami
can do this one.
No, I just want to get space for others.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm just coming. This is skis. Oh, camera. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sorry. Is it okay?
I don't know if it's finished or not.
Have you done your song? Sri said Goswami asked it. I thought you liked that. That's your song. It's 148 or something. Something like that.
Okay, page 148.
146.
148.
148.
148. Cool. That's the time.
Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambani Krishna
useless by doing that.
Nothing.
Have you done this unit on my notes?
Not yet.
Yeah.
We need to change the battery. Which is the smoke? Okay, yeah.
8:39. In your, oh, this one.
I don't know what it is.
Okay. Should be referenced.
39. Did you say 39? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Jaya Guru Maharaj Jatirajeshwar. Jaya Guru Maharaj Jatirajeshwar. Jaya Guru Maharaj Jatirajeshwar. Kashi Bhakti Rasa Kadeva Goswami Srila. Bhakti Pavan Lila Vishtari Puvane. Vishtari La Dina Ina Apamara Jane. Tomar Karuna Ghan Murati Hariya. Premi Bhagavan Diva Padde Murachiya. Sudhika Sukivgade Divya Bhavashaya. Divya Jnana Divya Nekta Divya Jyotirmaya. Suvana Suraj Dhanti Aruna Vasana. Tilak Tulasi Mala Chandana Bhushana. Apura Shri Anga Shubha Kori Jhalamala. Aura Janata Bhava Madhuja Ujala. Ashinda Pratibha Singha Gambira Udara. Jadda Jnana Kiri Vajra Divya Richadhara. Gaur Sankirtan Rasa Rasera Asaya. Daila Nitai Namisha Prema Maya. Sangha Pange Gaur Dhame Nitya Parakasha. Gupta Govardhane Siddhalilar Vinasha. Gloria Chaja Dosti Kora Vapajana. Gloria Siddhanta Mani Khanda Vibhushana. Om Saraswati Stutta Siddhante Rakari. Aviskita Gayate Mata Chintamani. Ek Tattvaman Nitya Nitya Navapava. Sangati Samanjasya Sava Prabhava. Umar Satirtha Varga Sabbe Ekama.
Saraswati Dhar Dekhe Natomate Tulasi Malika Haste Sinama Grahana Dekhi Shakale Rai Prabhu Divana Bodhi Chanda Sushitala Opara Parasa Agandara Govinda Lilamrita Labhasha Avikinta Veda Veda Siddhanta Prakasha Anandaya Rati Suchikare Dinadasa Avikinta Veda Veda Siddhanta Prakasha Anandaya Rati Suchikare Dinadasa Jaya Guru Maharaj Jati Rati Swami Bhakti Dev-Goswami Srila Dev-Goswami Avirbhav Mahotsav ki jai. Yes, if you.
What have we sung? What can I sing? If I know it.
Vaishnav Thakur we did.
More Vaishnava Thakur. Guru Vaishnava Gana? No. Can I do that?
What are you trying to figure out?
Which version? which bhajans has been sung, and because I didn't,
Late.
because I was 58.
58.
What?
Just so I can hear.
What can I hear? Could they hear Chandy Maharaj? Just a small room.
Sure.
Jai Guru Maharaj. Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ready? Takura Vaishnava Gana Koriye Vedana Takura
Vaishnava Koriye Vedana
Mokodo Ajama Durachara
Mokodo Ajama Durachara
Karuna Sansara Didi Kahe Doi Bailo Gidi
Daruna Samsara Nidhi Tahe Tu Pailo Giri
Keshe Gori More Koro Bhara
Keshe Gari More Goro Bhara
Vivi Bodo Balavan Nashune Dharamayan
Priti Bhagava Nashune Dharamaya
Sadai Karama Kashe Bhakti
Sadai Kara
Nadeki Taranale Jadi Teke Sabake
Sadeki Taranale Jata Deki Savakesha
Anaka Tatara Teni
Nalaka Katare Deikade
Kama Krodha Loba Moha Mada Abhimanata
Akabakradalo Hamo Mada Abhinanata
Apana Apana Chane Echana Amara Mana Kirejena Andajana Vipata Vipata Nabhijane Nailoi Nusat Mata Asate Madhiro Pita Nailoi Soye Gai Karino Aja Naratama Jate Koi Teki Shoni Lage Bhai Saraiya Loi Nijama Naratama Jate Koi Teki Shoni Lage Bhai Saraiya Loi Nijama Jaya Guru Maharaj
saintly Vaishnavas, although I'm very fallen and misbehaved, I nevertheless place this appeal before you. My destiny has immersed me in this fierce emotion of repeated birth and death. Please grab me by the hair and pull me to the opposite shore. Anyone?
My destiny is very powerful. I am not able to hear the knowledge of spiritual life, and I am always bound by the ropes of karma. I cannot see any way to escape my condition. I see only suffering. Helpless and stricken with grief, I cry.
I am just like a blind man, unable to see what path is auspicious or inauspicious. I am helplessly dragged from here to there by lust, anger, greed, bewilderment, madness and pride.
My mind became immersed in the impermanent satisfaction of the senses, and I could not understand the real goal of life. For this reason I did not aspire to attain your lotus feet. Narottam Das says, now that I am able to see and hear the Vaishnavas, I have become free from all fear.
Jai.
What is the program exactly today? What time is class? Have we spoke? Praise. Nati's at 1:30, so Sridhar Maharaj would like to speak about the Guru Maharaj. Could he do that? Very kind to be Maharaj. His disciple.
Okay. Well, it's traditional. We make offerings, right?
Yeah.
To the Guru. For some of us, it will be our Param Guru, and or otherwise. But at least we could certainly all to give some glorification. On this day. Okay, I'll just kind of introduce into it by what was that one I did? Sorry, I lost the page. .39, right, sorry. Going back to page 39, I'm just reading the translation of this because this arti song was written by Srila Govinda Maharaj about 2 years after the departure of Srila Maharaj, and it was, I remember he was walking around the courtyard in Navadvip just with an exercise book, and a pencil, and thinking, and then he sat down on the wall, he wrote a line, he walked a bit further, everybody was sort of like running to catch up, and then he'd take another line, write it down. And this way he composed it over maybe 2 or 3 days. At this time the Samadhi Mandir wasn't really under construction, it was all still formulating itself in his divine mind, how it would be, how the design would be actually. Because the design came out in an extraordinary way. It was a mixture of architectural designs, some Bengali, some Orison. They had the Orison work mysteries came up, and they were doing the work up there on the Samadhi Mandir in that type of style, with the lions, the 2 lions in front, and the whirly designs and everything. So he wanted it to be something different and a bit unique. Not just in the traditional Bengali style as you would see in the temples. And also remember there were 3 mango trees there, but one of the mango trees was just in the position where the pillar of the front right side pillar of the Samadhi Mandir would have to go. We tried every which way, there was no other way it could be. So what to do? You can't be cutting down trees in the Dham, these Kalpavriksha trees, He was thinking, praying to Guru Maharaj. Anyway, next morning he came down, early in the morning, trees left its body spontaneously. Yeah, other 2 trees, living, fine. This one, it's gone, for the purpose, so that Guru Maharaj's Samadhi could be built. And then he used that wood in the Samadhi in different parts of that mango tree. Well, it says, all glory to you, Guru Maharaj, of Sannyasi kings, the emperor, the glorious Srila Bhakti Rakak Dev-Goswami Sridhar. We can read one if you like.
Extending in this world your pastimes as Saviour of the fallen, you delivered all the suffering souls, including the most forsaken.
Beholding your holy form of concentrated mercy, the fortunate souls fall in a swoon of divine love's ecstasy.
Your lofty form, full of divine emotion, is nectar for one's eyes. With divine knowledge and shining eyes, your effulgence fills the skies.
The golden sun, resplendent in robes of saffron, dressed, adorned with tila, tulasi beads, and with sandal, fragrant dress.
The matchless beauty of your holy form, dazzling in its brightness, your benevolence of most noble heart, in the moonglow of love's sweetness.
Inconceivable genius, affection, gravity, magnanimity, a thunderbolt crushing mundane knowledge, the reservoir bestowing divinity.
In the Golden Lord's Sankirtan dance, you revel ecstatically. Dial Nitai, you ever call so lovingly.
Eternally present in Navadvip time with your associates, by your sweet will, you enjoy your holy pastimes on hidden Govardhan Hill.
You are the fit recipient of your dignity in the Gaudiya Acharya assembly, the jewel of the Gaudiya Siddhanta, adorning your chest so nobly.
You are the living message of Sri Gaura. You are the wine of perfect conclusion. You reveal the Gayatri's inner purport, the gem fulfilling all aspirations.
When you speak, one subject alone is revealed in every new light. Proper adjustment and harmony. All these things, your spiritual light.
All your dear God brothers declare unanimously, they see within your holiness the line of Rupa Saraswati.
Seeing you take the holy name with tulasi beads in hand, awakens the thoughts of Saraswati Thakur in everybody's mind.
Your feet cooling like 10 million moons, in their service all faith do I place. The nectar of Radha Govinda's pastimes, one day we may drink by your grace.
O personification of perfect conclusions, inconceivably one, yet different, I sing this prayer at your arati, with joy, your humble servant.
Good. So Srila Jai.
Jai.
Okay.
And I can say without reading this, and to read in the so many books and so many lectures, listen to so many lectures of Guru Maharaj, and studying so many things, so much we've learned from him. Every word that Srila Govinda Maharaj here says is true, because it's revealed in all his talk. It's astonishing, unparalleled, deep understanding, Siddhanta, unparalleled. And all his God brothers acknowledged it. Turned to him for constant advice and discussion, came to him, including Swami Maharaj. We now consider Srila Guru Maharaj as Shiksha Guru. So it's empowering. And when it says here how you proper adjustment and harmony, all these are your spiritual might, his ability to harmonize and to adjust each individual devotee's situation so they can progress. It was astonishing because he could see the past, future, and past, present, and future of everyone, and how the mission will unfold. That I can say. It's remarkable. His understanding to do that, his guidance. Anyway, spoken enough.
We can all say something in praise. Yeah, so the first line is Jaya Guru Maharaj Yati Rajeshwara. It is translated as the Emperor of Sannyasi Kings. So, yes, Sridhar Maharaj is very prominent among his godbrothers, sannyasi godbrothers. And as Maharaj has said, he had the ability, he had a memory that was able to retain the teachings or the words in the lectures, the talks of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, without any recording device or pen and paper or anything. And afterwards the devotees would come to him and ask him on particular points what he'd said and mentioned, and he'd be able to explain that very well, very nicely. And even when Srila Swami Maharaj was with Srila Guru Maharaj at the arrival of the devotees who came back from the west in Mumbai harbour, when the ship arrived and they had a reception committee, Bon Maharaj, you remember, went, and Goswami Maharaj and a couple of brahmacharis. And so they came. They were a little bit surprised to see Bon Maharaj coming off the ship, booted and suited. That was the point they made from the West. We said, oh, we have to adjust with the Western dress and things. In those days, of course, they were quite strict, probably, more than now, you know. And anyway, they were having some discussion initially there, right there on the harbour side, you know. And Bon Maharaj opined, he said to Bhaktisiddhanta, oh, the Europeans, they ask questions philosophically that can't be answered. And Sridhar Maharaj took exception to this, of course. He said, what questions? So he went through 6, 7, 8 questions, and he answered them all perfectly in front of everyone. And Swami Maharaj declared, today Asia has conquered the West, or something like that. Conquered Europe, yeah. Swami Maharaj would be quite a young man at that time in Grihastha life, still running his pharmaceutical business in Allahabad. But Sridhar Maharaj used to stay with him, particularly after the disappearance of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And he would stay in his upstairs of his house in Kolkata. And they had long discussions and a lot of association. At that time, Srila Govinda Maharaj was there as 18, 19 years old, had recently joined to Srila Maharaj's mission. He joined in 47, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati left in 36, so after that, up until about 1952, this was going on in Swami Maharaj's house in Calcutta. And then Swami Maharaj took Vanaprastha in 58. So there's quite a few years, 6 or 7 years of a lot of association. They had the three of them together. And Srila Govinda Maharaj would be there assisting them while Srila Guru Maharaj was preparing his translation and commentaries on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and asking Swami Maharaj, what do you think about this, what I've put here, this comment? Is it all right? And he'd say, yes, very good. And in one place in his commentary on the 10th chapter, those 4 verses, verses 8 to 11, what are called the 4 seed verses of Bhagavad Gita, those Chatur Shloki. So there Srila Guru Maharaj has given a separate commentary on each verse because they're very, very important. Seed verses means the whole conception of Bhagavad Gita has come out of those verses and expanded out. So he was telling his commentary, and Swami Maharaj said, yes, what you have written, it cannot be more than this. It cannot be more, the meaning cannot be more than this. And even some of Guru Maharaj's, we were saying the other day, it was, I think it was, forget who, but I was telling that some of his godbrothers, particularly Jajava Maharaj, was a very close godbrother of Sridhar Maharaj, and they used to have very intense discussions up on Guru Maharaj's veranda. And sometimes the voices would be raised, some argumentation, transcendental argumentation going on. And Guru Maharaj said, I was supporting the view of consciousness, and he was supporting the view of analysis about spiritual life. Two basic approaches, what's called a synthetic approach and the analytic approach. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's approach more analytic, more in a linear way, starting from point A and then building up to the end, developing this way. And the synthetic approach means you start with the center, the central thing, the Krishna conception, and then like a lotus, everything going out from there. And that was Guru Maharaj's view and mind always. that consciousness is the basis of everything. Without consciousness, there can be nothing. We couldn't even be having this discussion without the consciousness. So everything is existing within the ocean of consciousness. All matter, all ideas, all everything. Yeah, the subjective evolution of consciousness, as he called it, as they named that book. So in this way, they used to have these discussions, and sometimes late in the night, and quite heated. Sometimes Govinda Maharaj was there, and Jaja Maharaj, he said about Guru Maharaj's commentary on the Gita, particularly in 10.8, where he's, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, Jenamam Upayanti Te, where he's given the interpretation Upayanti to be Upapati. Because in that verse, Krishna is saying, to one who constantly worships me with devotion, I give the understanding, the buddhi, how they can approach me. But in this last line, Upayanti te, I will give to you this upayanti, this paramour or parakya mood or understanding. It means I will give show you the way to approach me in this particular way or mood, completely free or independent from the normal rules and regulations of the Vedas, etc., and to satisfy me, what is my every wish and or will or whim. So he's interpreted, this isn't in the Bhagavad Gita, which you normally wouldn't think of as a text on Madhurya Rasa or anything, but Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in their commentaries had given some idea or some hint of this, but Srila Guru Maharaj wanted to bring it out, you could say, to put it in writing actually, as a testament for future generations, because Jaja Maharaj said to him, well, this is so high, if you give this understanding, even in Bhagavad Gita, it could be misunderstood or abused also. And Guru Maharaj said, my realization, what I have, I'm giving that. It may be too high for some, or not high enough for others, but what I understand that I'm giving. And then after a pause he said, and if I don't give, who can give? You understand? It means that it is to be given for our understanding, for the future, there. So in this way, Srila Guru Maharaj's understanding was very deep and very... and he'd always speak from his level. He didn't... One time one devotee was talking with him, coming from the West, some discussion, and he was saying, we're trying to convince people also, just even to become vegetarian so they can understand Christian consciousness. And can you tell about that? Is that important? We're going on about vegetarian. Guru Maharaj was listening for a few minutes, he said, why are you always dragging me down, So these discussions, about such thing. So somebody might say, yes, but it's very important for Westerners to know these things. Yes, of course that's true. But everyone is an individual, and that was Guru Maharaj. That was him. Srila Swami Maharaj, very different. He'd be able to mix freely with many types of people, give teachings to them on their level, and deal with so many day-to-day ordinary dealings, right, and things. Srila Guru Maharaj, he basically left the running of the day-to-day things to Srila Govinda Maharaj. And Govinda Maharaj said, if there's any problem that really just I couldn't solve it or anything, then only last resort we would take it upstairs to Guru Maharaj and ask him, what is your opinion, or what should we do about this? Like that. So, we are fortunate, those devotees had association of Srila Guru Maharaj at that time, and he himself joked, he said, when I was younger I had my astrological chart done, and but also he himself knew astrology, he was trained in astrology, he also taught that to Srila Govinda Maharaj as well, we know. So time to time, on certain points, he would make a point from that point of view, So he said this astrologer had told him, this expert astrologer told him, because Guru Maharaj said, where should I spend the rest of my life, the last part of my life? I want to go for bhajan, for worship. And the man had said, it will be by the banks of a very sacred river, I think the Ganges. But then it became he said Yamuna in Vrindavan. And that was originally Srila Guru Maharaj's idea, to go to Vrindavan and live there after the disappearance of Bhakti Siddhanta Sartri and the problems in the Gaudiya Math. But then his thinking changed to go to Navadvip, the place of mercy, place of Mahaprabhu's mercy, Aparad Bhanjan Pat. Specifically that spot he chose. It's also, as you know, called Kolodanga. And it's also the place, the different avatars, incarnations, the Leela avatars of Krishna, they're on the different islands of Navadvip. So that place is, Kolodanga is Varaha. You know Varaha, the boar? Murti, yeah. So the boar, we know his pastime, to save the earth that was thrown in the ocean, in the bottom of the universe. So, and Aparad Bhanjan Pat, the place where all offences are forgiven or overlooked or absolved, whatever you like to say. So that place, and but he said that, and that man, that astrologer, had said, "Oh, you have some position." We know if you look at Guru Maharaj's astrological chart, it is very exalted, just even from an ordinary point of view. Exalted Jupiter, Jupiter's dharma, religion, religiousness, religious nature. Exalted Mercury, so his speaking ability, writing, poetry, very good. But the astrologer told him, "Oh, you have some angle on the Shani, the Saturn, and this means that you will have to have some shadow of association with the non-Vaishnav people." And so he was laughing. He said, "Oh, now the Westerners have come to me. Yeah, this is fulfilled, And also that he said, in the time of my Guru Maharaj, he asked me to go to the West, to London, but Guru Maharaj gave as what he called, in his humility, an excuse. I gave excuse. Oh, I don't understand English language very well, and also I don't like to mix with freely with general people. It's not my nature. So I think if I go, I may not have the success that you expect or you want. And that you'll be disappointed with that." He said, "But of course, if you order me, I must go, But then he didn't leave it there. He gave some positive suggestion. But I think if you send Bhakti Saranga Goswami, he's a very popular man and able to deal with people very nicely. And so he was sent in his stead, And as we know, had some success in London, Germany, other places. Not hugely, but some seeds definitely were planted there. As Prabhu has written in his book, wonderful book.
But this had already taken
Yeah. That was the fulfillment of that prophecy by Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
A little bit can happen.
Yes, that the day will come when the Americans and or different Europeans, all nations will join together in Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan. Yeah, that prophecy was fulfilled later by Srila Swami Maharaj. But there were some seeds planted there, some sowing of the ground in preparation. And Guru Maharaj said, "Well, that time I couldn't go to the West, but my Guru Maharaj didn't want me to escape his order, so he sent the Westerners to me in the fag end of my life." Because we only came in, 1980, 79, 80. So he would have been over 80 years of age, 85. That's very,
93.
93. We passed when he was 93. Yeah, so that was... Well, when we came, I'll tell you, we came in 1981. Guru Maharaj was born 1895, 1 year before Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. So 1895, so that's like 81, 86. Around 86 is his age when we came. Although there had been devotees going to him since about the mid-70s. Even Srila Swami Maharaj, he sent Achyutananda Swami, who at that time was very prominent in ISKCON. Sent him, he said, to learn about the Vaishnava Siddhanta from Sridhar Maharaj directly. And he stayed for 9 months in the mutt. He learned Bengali fluently and how to do the bhajans and the whole culture, immersed himself in the whole culture of it, you know. And when Sridhar Maharaj was invited as the guest of honour to open the Chandrodaya Mandir, the ISKCON Mandir in Mayapur, was that 73? 72, 73. So, you know, they have the official opening, you know, cutting the tape and this. So Srila Swami Maharaj invited Sridhar Maharaj as guest of honour, and he came, and at that time, maybe before or after the event, you know, the official event, he was in the room talking with Sridhar Maharaj, and they came out of the room, and this Achyutananda Swami was there, and he asked, "Oh, Prabhupada, what did you discuss with Sridhar Maharaj?" And he just shook his head. He said, "Sridhar Maharaj's realizations are so high, if I tell you, you'll just faint, you know." Yeah, there's that story. And you know, he said, "I consider my Shiksha Guru, what to speak of the benefit you can have." But their relationship was very, very close and intimate. And I was telling Prabhu on the way here how he used to stay in the Blue House with the devotees, Srila Prabhupada, because there wasn't any building, they didn't have any temple in Mayapur that time. That was a story how they got the land, acquired the land to make the Chandrodaya Mandir and the guest house and everything. So before that, we used to stay there with Sridhar Maharaj. Yeah.
The bamboo
Tell us. Go on.
They spent so much money on the best bamboo that they had.
Yeah.
For the best bamboo poles with the flag.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Well, the original story of that.
They spent, so I believe, the best bamboo pole, they put a flag on the top, and that's where the story started. The flag, the sun never sets on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's a different story, that's
very simple.
Yeah. Okay. This is if it's the same story, the original one when Guru Maharaj first went to Navadvip, and he was in a hut. Yes. And he had them put this big bamboo pole with a saffron flag on the top, just stuck in the ground, you know, outside the hut. And then Krishnadas Babaji, you know, friend of Guru Maharaj, and he chuckled. He said, "It's such a big thing, it's just a hut. What is that? Why you?" He said, "You will see in the future what this place will be. There will be a big temple here." And then that verse he composed, the flag flies high, singing its glories around the world, and here the devotees aspire to serve Rupa Goswami in the line of Saraswati, like this. There's a mantra, it's on the Bhagavad Gita, hidden treasure, on the back of the book. It's given that mantra. Yeah, so... And he had some siddhi also, definitely, Sridhar Maharaj. We know Govinda Maharaj had siddhi, definitely, by the grace of Lord Shiva. But Srila Guru Maharaj also, because he told his revelation about Gayatri Mantra, his famous explanation is, in that song mentioned, Gayatri, how's the verse go? Gayatrira Artha, you have, it's in it, verse 13, page 39, if you find it. Page 39, yeah, so Gayatrira, you've given the sort of deep purport of the Gayatri Mantra. And the Guru Maharaj said he was sitting under a banyan tree.
It's verse 10. Verse Gayatri, sorry, 11.
Yeah, it's the translation?
It's a translation. You're the living message of Sri Gaura. You're the mind's perfect conclusions. You revealed the Gayatri's inner purport, the gem fulfilling all aspirations.
Yeah. Yes, so the inner purport of Gayatri Mantra. And he said that he was sitting under a banyan tree opposite the mutt, which is now Govinda Kund. Before it was built, it was just, you know, like a tank surrounded by trees and, you know, quite wild. And he was sitting under the banyan tree there in the corner and meditating in Gayatri. And Gayatri Devi appeared to him. Or he had some, I don't know how you would be able to describe it, a vision or some experience about Gayatri Devi, and through that he had this revelation about the inner purport of Gayatri Mantra, which again is in the Hidden Treasure book in the front. that is explained in brief. But the full explanation is in the other book, Subjective Evolution of Consciousness, chapter 12. Is called Gayatri Mantra, and the whole of that chapter is, if you read it, giving his whole explanation. And he's also written shlokas in Sanskrit about this, which isn't known much. Those shlokas aren't very known much, but I think they're in Prapanajivamritam, maybe somewhere in the back. Yeah. So there are layers and layers and layers to be uncovered. Like the lotus flower, it's a bud and then it opens. And then from inside, and then from inside, and from inside, more and more coming out. It's not a limited thing. So you've taken the meaning of Gayatri right up to Radha Dasyam, as we read in that explanation, explaining the meaning of these levels, Bhu, Bhuvasva, etc. Not just meaning the physical dimensions of the planetary systems, Bhuvalok, Mahalok, Janalok, Tapalok, Satyalok, going up, but also subtle dimensions, the physical, the mental, the intellectual. Then Savitur, the sun means the soul. Generally in the Gayatri Mantra is understood as the sun, which gives light. He's explained what's actually giving light. It's not the sun, it's the soul. Because without the light of consciousness, then there's nothing. There's no awareness, no perception. Savitur Varenyam, above the soul, is Varenyam, a venerable holy dimension. That is the plane of the super soul, above the soul. Varenyam Bhargo. From that super soul area, light is coming. Bhargo means light. Devasya Dhimahi. And that light, I meditate on that light, but it's not just a impersonal static light, because it's Devasya. Inside that light is Deva. Deva means God, or with the English word divine. But actually, the root of the Sanskrit word divya means playful. Yes, playful. So that is lila, pastimes, not static, Brahmajyoti. But inside that there is lila, there's pastimes. And Devasya Dhimahi Tanno Yoda Prachodaya. I meditate on that. So that is he's explaining that light is actually coming from the aura of Radharani, who's the original initial Hladini Shakti and servitor of Krishna. So he's taken it to that. But you'd have to read it yourself, step by step, and understand it. And that was one of his many contributions. And of course, Premadharma Stotram, also because that was the condensed form of Chaitanya Charitamrita, condensed into 73 verses. And basically the gist of all the teachings of the CC, as we call it, are in there, in that poem, poetry. And
also, I was looking at it.
Yeah.
Prabhupada Padmastavaka, this bhajan, the tune from that, I was told, maybe you can confirm this, not, it was from, not known amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and it's a unique tune, unique, and it comes from, it said that Srila Govinda says, he brought it back from a different yuga that had been lost.
Oh, okay.
And brought it back.
What's the word you said? Nick?
This sloka, the beat, the tune of it.
Oh,
it's
right.
Unlike,
the meter, yeah.
The meter,
oh, yeah.
It's unlike any other. And he brought it back from, it's been lost in the time, it says in the Gita, in the time that the teachings are lost. And he brought this back for our benefit, this meter.
Yeah, and that song is sung in the different Gaudiya mats, not just our mat, yeah. Pranamami Sada Prabhupada, I've even heard it on an ISKCON tape, Hare Krishna.
So that you brought that back.
They may or may know where it comes from, I don't know, but it's there, they've got it from somewhere. And
also the Gora, the Saraswati is sung in all the Gaudiya mats.
Oh, the Saraswati, yeah, okay.
You brought that for all this knowledge had been lost. Srila Guru Maharaj's contribution is giving us these jewels to reconnect us with the spiritual realm, the transcendental world. All these gems is contribution is unparalleled. In the line of the Gaudiya Vaishnava, it's astonishing. And we get great benefit of it. And he's so high, such a high personality. Srila Govinda Maharaj revealed in one talk he gave that he actually is Ramananda Roy. Ramananda Roy. And yet, his teachings are like that of Rupa Sarasvati. Maybe the God brothers could discern that, but he said, this of Guru Maharaj. That's who he was. That's who we were in contact with, his high personality. Who they were the two extensions of the personality of Mahaprabhu. So he came in the guise of Guru Maharaj, again to teach. It's astonishing. We benefit from it because we realize how could we possibly come into contact with such high thing?
Yes, indeed.
It's impossible. By mercy.
And the 12 verses of the prayer he composed to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and disappearance of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and started reading that. Saraswati Thakur said, he hasn't written this. Bhaktivinoda has written this through him. Yeah. So, but his nature was like, he always says, I'm a back-pushing man. I was never ambitious for preaching in that way, for kind of, he preached extensively earlier on throughout India in the different temples, different mutts, and his nature was because of a high-thinking person, and how he would be his dress would be very beautiful, casually things wound around. Saraswati Thakur one time said, when you're going to preaching engagements, it's good if you have some smart dress and put something like that. Yes, Maharaj, I will try, And then the next time it's just the same, thing wound around there, this thing. And again, Saraswati Thakur said, if you... And then third time, just the same, And Saraswati Thakur said, Sridhar Maharaj is a man of substance. So...
Not external.
It's different. Sometimes we have to, appear for the public. We know Srila Swami Maharaj is very aristocratic, silk clothes, very regal, pucker, very dignified. Look, prasadam, everything rich. Yeah, he said for breakfast he would have to have, puri, kichori, some sabji, Swami Maharaj. Whereas Guru Maharaj just, muddy, puff rice. And that famous time when he saw him having that, and he said, Maharaj, you're cheating the stomach. That's what he said.
Eating air.
Cheating the stomach. And one time when Srila Swami Maharaj came back, they were at Navadvip having prasad, himself and Sridhar Maharaj. There's a photograph of that, of them sitting on the floor and the plates in front of prasad. And Govinda Maharaj was there, and he was standing by, attending, sort of humbly attending, not, let them talk, And Swami Maharaj, who knew Govinda Maharaj very well, he said, he's my favourite son, And he had a lot of association. We know that when they were preaching in Calcutta, because at that time Govinda Maharaj was in the saffron cloth as a brahmachari, and Swami Maharaj at that time was in the white cloth as a grihasta, so he used to make Govinda Maharaj sit on the high seat and read the shloka from Gita, then Swami Maharaj would give the explanation. And this was the system they had going on. So later on, that time when Govinda Maharaj was standing attending them and they're taking prasad, and Swami Maharaj looked up and said, "Oh, Govinda, sit down with us, take prasad with us." And Govinda Maharaj very humbly thinking, "Oh, now Swami Maharaj has become world acharya, so famous, so many temples, disciples." Oh, he said, "No, Maharaj, he didn't, And then jokingly, Swami Maharaj said, "Oh, you're a Brahmin boy, and you think now I've been in the West and associated with all militia, you cannot sit with me." And then he said, "Oh yes, of course, Maharaj," and he sat down and something like that.
Teasing him.
Yeah.
I wasn't clear, Maharaj. You said that Srila Maharaj, he was Raghunath.
Ramananda Roy.
Was that revealed by someone, or was it like
Revealed by Srila Govinda Maharaj?
Oh, he said that. I just never heard that before.
No. That's a very high thing in the Ashram music. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, it's actually, I would take it to mean, he's channeling to some way, in some way, the bhav, and the mood of Ramananda Rai, whose, discussion with Mahaprabhu was revealing the highest expression of Krishna consciousness. And if you read in the book of Revealed Truth, in one of the later chapters, he talks about that. Some devotees asking questions about the Ramananda Samvad, as it's called, that particular episode, which is in the 8th chapter of Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then he's saying many things in that chapter, quite special things, even things I haven't even heard Guru Maharaj say about it. So I was surprised, like, ooh, that's very extraordinary. Although he's just touching on it, he's saying these are very high esoteric things, we can't go into it like in details, because our mundane mind is like there. So inevitably, when we hear about such pastimes and they're transmitted or coming through our mundane coverings, they will take on mundane material form of mundane things, That's inevitable, cannot be avoided. Definitely at the stage of, while we're still in the stage of anatta nibritti, clearing stage, purification, undergoing purification. In the after stage, nishta, ruchi, ashakti, bhav, like that. Yeah, then we can hear these things in details and in discussion, and realization is like that, but not before that. And that was Srila Guru Maharaj, as we know, very, very strict on that point. Absolutely. He said, now there are many mats and many acharyas, and they're saying and teaching many things. As far as we're concerned, we follow our gurus. Srila Saraswati Thakur, who is very conservative and very not going into these things, always thinking, that is for the higher section, and we will stay with the primary teachings. But yeah, Matalari Jana Kirtanaranga, yeah. And we know he was teaching the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj at Radhakund on the Parikrama. When they stopped, for talking about the glories of Radhakund, he wasn't talking about the pastime Leela of Krishna and Radha, which you might expect someone would talk about in that place. He told the teachings of Prahlad, 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, what is considered the primary teachings of Krishna consciousness, how to practice Krishna consciousness, hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, and like that. And he was lecturing on those. Many examples of this, And that nice example also, I remember when Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house in Godrum Dweep, if you go there, those might have been there, is still there, his house, his room, his bed, his fan, his table, many things. It's a very wonderful place. And Srila Saraswati Thakur, as a young man, when he was 12 years of age, he was living with him there. And, of course, in that area, Navadvip, there are many types of sadhus and babas, and we don't know what is their lineage or what they do. Babajis are mostly sahaja, tinged at least, of one kind or another. And then, so on this particular occasion, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was sitting on his chair outside his house, and next to this one Babaji, with his hair like this, typical, and just chatting, talking with him, no problem. And then Saraswati Thakur, 12-year-old boy, he came up from the Ganges from taking his bath, and he was coming in the distance towards the house. But seeing that Sahaja Babaji there, he did his dandavat on the ground and didn't approach to them. He went right round the whole way round to get in the house through the other way. And the Babaji said to Bhaktivinoda, "Oh, your son, he's doing dandavats like over there. Why he doesn't come here?" He said, "Oh, he's taken a vow. He won't come within 50 meters of Sahaja person." But for Bhaktivinoda Thakur, not a problem, No. Yeah, his ability like that. And so that strictness of that example is very much Sri Guru Maharaj, and our line, those who are followers of him, is or should be like that. So So any other? I don't want to talk all the time. Any other one can make say something in appreciation?
I'll make a little
Go on,
one.
tell me,
He gave us these high glimpse into these high things through the Guru Maharaj. But then he was quite strict about how we should approach that, how we should deal with it. And it's in that it's like the motto of the motto. Matla Harijana, Kirtana Range, Pujala Ragapata, Gaurava Bangi. He will worship spontaneous affection of love. But he will do so from a distance while worshipping within the Vedic guidelines. We have it there, above. We should not try to enter into those pastimes. We should wait patiently if we are worthy enough to receive them. So we would avoid this to recognize our fallen nature. So he was quite strict about that. And so is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So we must not be discussing fine details of what you should only look at what they've revealed in their lectures and in their books. Not go beyond that. Because some people, the book, those high books exist. The Gita Govinda, we're told we cannot read such books. We cannot touch them. I strictly follow that. And that's what we must do. That's what he means by that. And this way, then we can progress nicely under their guidance.
Very well.
I'm going to share
Got a few disciples here, direct disciples of Sridhar Maharaj. You have Jagannath Prabhu, Devananda Prabhu over here. Anyone else? Who are disciples? I mean, direct disciples by Harinam of Sridhar Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, yeah.
I had the fortune of.
Oh, you want to say? Okay, good.
But I had waiting for.
Yes.
Yeah. A little bit loud. Say that again.
Huh?
What you said. Can you
No,
say
I just said I had the wonderful fortune, I don't know how, to pay my Dandavats at his holy lotus feet. But I had to wait for Govinda, my Gurudev, happily waiting and taking from him.
Yeah. So,
Whatever year that was, I don't know exactly.
right.
But a wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. Unforgettable. Of course.
Any appreciation from others of anyone? We know, of course, our friend Nitya Sankirtan Prabhu has a great appreciation for Sridhar Maharaj and his books and teachings.
Yes.
Yeah, as well. So he doesn't want to say anything.
So annoying. I wish I could hear you clearer.
Sorry, I do mumble.
A little bit louder.
Okay.
Because I have that problem with my.
Maybe Jack.
Go ahead.
Maybe Jack.
We both got something we can say.
Go on then.
I remember sitting up on, I remember seeing things in Guru Maharaj's mat, doing guard duty at night, and with the fireflies and the beautiful light blue and jasmine. And that's really nice. I also remember being up on the balcony, Guru Maharaj's balcony in the morning, and hearing him speak. I can't remember the things he was speaking about, because they were very, very high stuff, way beyond me. I remember feeling completely transported to another world, some other high, very high place. Like that, It was, I think, 1982 we were visiting her, and then again in 1985.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really remember much, but I mean, I went to Nagari at the same time as Jagannath Prabhu and Maharaj, and unfortunately, I remember seeing him walking around, but unfortunately, my stay was cut short because I had a broken leg. I was being caught in monsoon, and a tree fell on top of me. So whereas all the other devotees stayed much longer, I was only there for a few days, and so that's what happened to me. Really, I remember him walking around and
Can I correct me if I'm wrong, but you've gone to the Ganges to take part in it.
Yeah.
You're coming back across this field, and in this field there was one tree.
Yeah.
And he walked under the one tree, and the bough fell right on his femur. I don't quite understand how or why.
Yeah. I mean, there were a few of us, and it was I've never seen anything like it, but a few of us all running back, and but it just caught me, and how it missed my.
Struck by lightning at the time.
Yes, and just that very spot, that very moment. I mean, my bad karma from the past, obviously, and struck me. But the leg actually took 6 years to mend.
When you went under the tree, did the lightning hit the tree, or it just snapped off anyway?
No, it must have been the lightning that struck it. How else did it fall down?
Yeah, incredible. What are the chances?
The chances of falling down in that one spot.
Just to let you know, I had the great good fortune to actually slip in the monsoon I was deep in 2007 and smashed my left kneecap to pieces. So we're in the bad karma club. So don't feel put out by that. It's happened to quite a few people. So karma.
You can you get that in the Dham, some heavy things like
happening in the Dham is your karma is released.
Definitely.
It's taken away. So some people, it doesn't happen. The karma is not taken away, and they go on life after life until it's actually taken away.
And it's very quick. And very brutal. Yeah, happened to me. This is a small thing compared to you, but when I was in Puri, and the temple there, it's actually Haridas Samadhi, by the beach, and they always have these. They have 24-hour sort of kirtan going on, but it's very small. They just usually have two elderly Babajis, one maybe with cartel and one with maybe a drum or even just singing, but they're sort of intoning this sort of mantra, which incidentally is a so-called Sahaja mantra. But, Guru Maharaj mentions it, that we don't say that one, but it's a sacred place, Haridas Samadhi, so we respect them as Dham Basis, residents of the Dham and like that. So one day, and I was there, and they were doing this, and that was coming in my mind, what Guru Maharaj had said about this Sahaja mantra. It wasn't so much that, but the fact that they were singing it, but they kept falling asleep and dropping off. And in my mind, all I thought in my mind was, God, they can't even keep awake to sing it properly. And I went outside to go to the bathroom, the thing outside, and just outside the door was this patch of slimy, weed sort of thing on the ground. Just instantly, I went flying in the air, smack right down on my arse like that. It was I wasn't damaged, it was bruised, nothing. But it's so instant, Instant karma, yeah. Yeah.
It's good, be able to challenge us to realise that. In my experience, I'd received incredible mercy that only a week before, by the grace of Srila Govinda Maharaj, I actually now realise that. And I was called up into the draft carts, the Jagannath, all three carts, by the head panda of the temple. I had this unbelievable mercy. 1 week later, smashed my neck. And there were some Bengali devotees calling me into the Govinda Kund to take bath, and soon rain was coming down as my gumshan. There was a sign there in the said, anyone who takes bath in Gupta Govardhan is immediately relieved of their sins. B.S. Govinda, Swami B.S. Govinda, there was a sign there. And I was thinking, Nah, not me. That's not going to happen to me. I'm so fallen. I can never have my sins relieved that easily. So then I didn't do it. And I was in my room and I thought, I'd go over and see Buddha. He was a Pujari at the time. See if the Sanskrit class was happening. Because that's when I walked over. Smack. I had to have it the hard way. That's what happened to me.
Okay.
So it taught me something about faith. It taught me something about karma. And it taught me something about my own stupidity. You know?
Right.
Sometimes these lessons have to be learned.
You know the Gupta Govardhan thing? Was that revealed by Bhakti in his Navadvip book, or is that from somewhere?
That's been revealed.
The Gupta Govardhan, where the mark is, yeah.
It's hidden Govardhan. That's revealed by Srila Guru Maharaj. It's revealed by others.
Yeah, it's Bhakti notes.
Yeah.
And you know that you say that it removes your what's it called, Apwad? Does that include Vaishnava Apwad, or is it just?
Vaishnava Apwad is something different. You go to hell for a million lifetimes for that.
Yeah, when Mahaprabhu, why it's called Aparad Bhanjan Pat, when Mahaprabhu went there, came back there after 5 years after taking sannyas, and he came back from Puri. As there's some tradition, you can go back to your previous house for one visit or something, and he did that, and then he was there and sitting in that place, and then everybody came there. Guru Maharaj says those who had made offence to him in many ways before, when he was in Navadvip as a householder, and he gave a general absolution to everybody. So from that example, I don't know what you're asking. If they made offence to Mahaprabhu, that's like Vaishnava Aparad magnified, isn't it? But they were all forgiven. But that's Mahaprabhu who did that. That's maybe not possible for any mortal, general or ordinary way, but yeah.
You can know these things.
Yeah, just like it's an example of Mahaprabhu in the jungle of Jharikand, and he was, by his chanting, the tigers were dancing and embracing the deer and kissing the deer, who they would normally eat, right? And all this, you think that is extraordinary. Can you believe a thing like that? But Guru Maharaj explained it. He said Mahaprabhu's vibration was so pure and so intense that it pierced through. Because we were saying tiger, deer, rhinoceros, these are only coverings over the soul, right? So it pierced through these coverings, gross and subtle, and actually penetrated the Atma itself, and then the Atma awakens and chants Hare Krishna very naturally. So why not? Tigers, deer. But of course, I think any ordinary Vaishnava or even yogi or anyone couldn't do that. It is something extraordinary, a miracle, right? Must be, yeah. Joy. Joy. Arti, no. Not Arti. Are they doing a Pushpanjali and like that? I think all that. Okay, yeah. That's the next thing, Guru Puja, yeah, and Pushpanjali. Yeah, okay, yeah. Huh?
But not quite ready.
Not quite ready. Yeah. So. Krishna Chaitanya.
I've never actually seen you dance.
No, I think I've seen you one of those.
Yeah, next to that. Well, actually, I'm from Britain. I was born in London. Yeah, I've only been here.
That's fine. I get it.
Sometimes I go
Out here and then right.
not too much.
Oh yeah, then it's on the right.
Your name again?
Everything off? Yeah.
He's going to be the first one I'm born in a super country, but I just went to yourself?
Need guys. Where's Fernando?
He's got
Where's Mommy's got one.
The other one.
No, it's a big word.
I think it's a bit long. Let me fix it.
Maharaj.
Hold it for a minute. Hold it for a minute.
They were looking for you to say
Hold it a minute. No, just a minute.
I was wondering where's the picture?
So that's why you just leave it the picture. Yeah, yeah. And we'll put it on a chair.
Srila Dev-Goswami Abhibhav Mahmotsab ki Jai, Beloved Param Gurudev ki Jai, Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Sri Acharya Vrinda ki Jai, Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivacharya Varya Sukha Satsi Simat Srila Bhakti Srila Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Param Gurudev ki Jai, Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai, Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Sri Sannyasi Vrinda ki Jai, all glories to the ensemble of devotees ki all glories to the world, devotees ki Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai,
We're gonna play the next one. No. Didi, you need this? You need this now? This can go. Yeah.
Krishna Gokulam
Hare
Srila Bhakti Nimalacharya Maharaj ki Jai Saraswat Sri Acharya Vrinda ki Jai Om Brahmansa Parvachkacharya Karya Sutra Shishimat Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvachkacharya Karya Sutra Shishimat Srila Bhakti Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Beloved Param Guru Dev ki Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaurav Shoda Swami Maharaj ki Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Bhakti Maharaj ki Jai Sri Rupa Nuka Guru Bharata ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Ananda Guru Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Prince Gahosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Kaludara Sri Vasadi Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jaya Sri Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Sri Sri Bhakta Bhakta Dasa Raghunath Satya Swami Prabhu ki Jai Sri Baladev Priya Bhushan ki Jai Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Prabhu ki Jai Sri Baladev Sri Narottam Shamananda Srinivasacharya Prabhu ki Jai Sri Dadavadam ki Jai Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Om Vishnupad Vishnu Parena Sila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai Sabhashad Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai Sabhashad Sri Mama Prabhu ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Prabhu Gopinath Shyama Puna Radha Puna Puri Govardhan ki Jai Sura Bhakti Krishna Vinyasa Singh Shindev ki Jai Bhakta Pavai Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Tulasi Maharani ki Jai Gangadhar Muni Ji ki Jai Prantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai Sri Navavidam ki Jai Sri Mayapudam ki Jai Sri Vrindavanam ki Jai Sri Purushottamadam ki Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Blessed Woman Chapter ki Samata Veda Vaishnava Mandala ki